Super Talk 99.7. Feels like deja vu. I don't know. But you know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Coming at you from Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show. And it does feel like deja vu because I've been sitting here talking to these gentlemen, and it's not just me here today, but I've been sitting here talking to these gentlemen that are here today I'm going to tell you about in a minute, and realized some things going on, and so we just had to go, kick it live. You know how it is. But anyways, hope everybody's having a great Saturday. We've had a lot of storms, a lot of wind, some hail, a lot of door-to-door solicitors. I'm sure if you've gotten the handwritten note, that's the best one I've heard so far. But careful on those people. Not those people. That's the wrong way to say it. Careful on who you're letting get on your roof. Careful who you're letting get on your roof, because there's a lot of things that go on out there in this industry, and it's not always good, and not everything's insurable. Not everything is insured damage. Some things they call mechanical damage. It's where tools get drug across roofs when you're doing one. It makes a little nick, or it's all normal. But then there's other things that man's good at doing, and it's tearing things up. But I'm not going to harp on that like I did last week. But be careful of what you're signing. Read what you're signing. When you see our contract, you might hate us because it's about 12 to 15 pages long, because we tell you everything you need to know, and there's no fine print. As a matter of fact, the stuff that's highlighted in that safety yellow, or whatever you call the marker yellow, highlighter, how about that? What you highlight, is that what it is? Shows you the key points of everything, what you're responsible for, we're responsible for. And just always remember, you have 3 days to cancel a contract. After 3 days, a company can hold you to that contract and read the fine print. They can charge you a percentage, especially in insurance. Now, when it gets to retail, I don't know. I'm sure they can on that. But as I said last week, if anybody wants to cancel after they've signed with us, just don't let me have materials on the ground. Then I got to charge you something. Other than that, hey, I'm not going to fight for that. If you don't want to do business with us, then fine. That's perfectly fine. No need me to come after you and make you matter. I don't know why you didn't want to go with us in the first place. But anyhow, go to, we're also YouTubing as well. Podcasting, radio podcast, whatever you call this, where you're doing live on Super Talk 997, but you can also watch it on YouTube if you miss it here. But go and check out last week's show if you think you've got insurance damage, if you're getting 50 door knockers and handwritten notes and robocalls, and you probably go to the bathroom and your phone dings and there's a roofer telling you something. Well, call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights, and now commercial maintenance and replacements. And that's what we're going to talk about today. As soon as I get to these gentlemen that I'm keeping in suspense right now, I don't think they're nervous, though. I think they'll get through this round. But nevertheless, I also want to remind you that this year, all of 2025, and probably, extended till whenever, we're adding an additional 5% off the normal 10% we do for everybody. 10% for everybody, automatically. You get 10% off of what I call our retail pricing, which is retail pricing. It's like when you go buy something at a store, it's got a sticker on it. That's called retail. Well, what quote we give you, we immediately take 10% off the top. If it was $10,000, it's now $9,000. If it was $20,000, it's now, $18,000. I had to do math there for a second, a Common Core. But anyway, so what I'm getting at is you get an additional 5% if you're a first responder, anybody working in a hospital, firemen, police, plastic surgeons excluded. But no, we'll do what we can. But my point is, additional 5% if you're a first responder, if you're military, active, retired, Gold Star family, 5% more off. And that's every A to Z group in the military. I'm not going to mention names because some of them get mad at you if you mention Marine and don't say Army and don't say Navy. But my grandfather's Marine, so simplify. But nevertheless, that let's get to 5% more off, totaling 15% off all retail jobs. Not insurance. Can't do insurance. Insurance is excluded. Legalities of that's federal law and red tape. And it's sort of like what I talked about earlier. There's some, But anyways, I'd really like to tell you some things, but I can't. Not about us. But nevertheless, know what you're signing when someone gets on your roof. And when someone gets on your roof, make them provide pictures and not just draw on it and point from the ground. And then as I always say, when I ask people if they're ready to go or not, they go, well, we're going to get a couple other estimates. I'm like, great. Get 20. Number one, I like seeing what the market's doing out here and making sure we're staying competitive and not overpricing, which we're not. I know that, but dadgum, some of these people come in at numbers that I can't get materials for. That's just scary when it protects everything you own. But nevertheless, it's 15% off all year for first responders, military, active retired, Gold Star families, and anyone over 62 for all retail jobs only. If you're paying out of pocket, we're going to help you out this year a little bit more than we already are. So I think I've covered everything. So now let me get to the people of the hour, because I mentioned we're going to start this week's about commercial maintenance and replacements, and it's about TPO. Because RTM Roofing does now, from metal roofing to TPO to EPDM, we can do replacements and repairs. Because you need a maintenance program, just like homeowners do, that have no idea. Because when we come out there and say it's $4,000 to repair this, it would have been probably nothing. You might have spent $4,000 over 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, but you wouldn't all at once if you got in maintenance. Just like you rotate your tires and change your oil on your car. That's depreciating, mind you. But anyways, let me get to it, because I'm trying to fly to this because I want to get to these guys. But first, we're going to start with, hello, gentlemen.
Hello. Good morning.
And we only got one mic, so we're going to be passing it back and forth if you're listening. And if you're watching on YouTube with a standard conversation, or just Google RTM, you'll see and watch, have some fun. But anyways, so who are we, and what's your name?
Ladies and gentlemen, first let me say that 10 to 15% is a very generous offer. I recently had to replace a very expensive roof, and I was not offered any form of discount, and that would have covered my vacation, or that would have covered my Christmas for last year. So
you're hired. Here's your $20 real quick. There you go. I'll pay you right now.
For RTM to offer that to first responders and to military, I think is a very wonderful thing. So thank you for that, Chad. And thanks for having us here to join you today. This is my first podcast, so it's a treat to talk to everyone today and discuss a little bit about roofing. My name is Bill Byrd, B-Y-R-D. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, but I now live in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, just south of Nashville. And I've been in the Murfreesboro region for about the last 5 years, and I have actually been in the commercial roofing field. June will be my 46th year, and so I've seen a lot over almost half a century of being in the roofing industry.
I'd say you have.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a journey, but it's been absolutely a wonderful journey too.
You've done some hot pitching then, probably.
It's in my early days.
That's what I mean. You said 46 years. It's like that. There was some tar involved in that.
My first day was toting 5-gallon bucket of tar up a 40-foot ladder, dumping it, and going and getting another one.
Isn't that fun?
Fell in love immediately, and that was actually in Memphis, Tennessee, and one of the hottest summers they ever had. So it was over 100 degrees my first day, and I said, yeah, this is what I want to do. And 46 years later, I'm still loving it, probably loving it more now than ever. And I actually started out as a laborer, just carrying things, doing whatever needed to be done in labor capacity, and worked my way up. My original first company was a large union company out of Memphis. So we did a lot of large roofs. Started out with EPDM, a lot of built up.
That was early EPDM.
Modified.
We just repaired some EPDM that was original for Kevin Link.
Yeah.
And it was the original 80s, the first run of EPDM. But before we get on into that, now who are you? Let's here we go. We'll toggle the mic. Now, who are you?
Hi, my name's Kevin Manix. I've been in commercial roofing not quite as long as Bill. I've only got 43 years in.
Oh, 43. I had 40 written down. So that's 89 years of roofing experience right
43,
here. 43. Yeah. And you had in this side of the business, you had 15. Well, no, we had more than that.
We're over 100.
Yeah, over 100 sitting here. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah. No, I started back in 1983. Started out driving a forklift for a company called Firestone, who had just gotten into commercial roofing.
Well, they do something with all that extra rubber laying around, I guess.
Yep. So I started doing that and worked my way up. I became a purchasing manager. I was customer service manager. After that, I became I did sales for.
What was your first job?
Very first job?
Yeah, first job.
In my life?
Yeah.
Probably mowing grass, I guess, and shoveling snow. I did that when I was probably 8 years old.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, because anybody that's got 40 and 46 years of experience in any one industry didn't start off lazy.
No. We were always doing shoveling snow, mowing grass, whatever, and then got into construction in high school. And then I did purchasing at Firestone. I was sales. I did the last 7 years. I was a regional technical manager, so I had 10 inspectors reporting to me from Texas up to Minnesota.
And when did you start with everybody says, I always call it IKO, but it's IKO. IKO, yeah. But
IKO, well, it is IKO, I think. Yeah. I've been with them about 3 years now, and it's exciting because when I first started 40-some years ago, Firestone was brand new to commercial roofing.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting with these guys 3 years ago, and they're brand new to commercial here in the States. So not new to commercial across the planet, but here in the States, we're the first new entrance into TPO and commercial in 25 years probably.
I always talk about that I'm a huge IKO fan, okay? I mean, you can see I got my shirt on, got my hat on, but I'm a Dynasty fan on the shingle, on the residential shingle applications, right? I love the Dynasty. It's built for wind protection. I don't care about hail. Yep. If you want hail, get a Class 4. Yeah. Then I'll go to Nordic. But the music's starting to play. I know you guys can't hear the music, but where I was going is I'm a huge IKO fan. I have been for years now. Yep. And I put on hundreds of thousands of square feet of Dynasty with only 2 failures I've ever done. Yep. And now we're IKO, TPO, Innovi certified, and we're going to talk commercial maintenance when we come back. You're listening to Renovation Nation. Don't miss it. See you in 3. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. The warm weather's coming, and so is the rain, the hail, the wind. Is your roof ready? Is it time for your annual inspection? And not just your roof, your siding, your soffit, your fascia, your gutters, your chimney caps, and if you have skylights too. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com. And we're back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is? It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, it is, and we're back. Yes, we're back. Oh, hope you're enjoying the show so far. But I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show. As I always say, coming at you live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and also, on YouTube as well at a standard conversation. So if you missed today's show, and the encore will be 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. if you're catching the first 11 to 12. And then if you miss this weekend's show, you can always go back to YouTube and Google RTM Roofing or a standard conversation, all one word, and it'll get you right to us, and you'll be able to catch back up on anything you missed. Because today we're talking with Bill Byrd Kevin Manix and Bill Byrd of IKO and IKO. You know IKO. I talk about the Dynasty all the time, and I also talk about it's time for your annual inspection, and maybe it's your inaugural inspection. Since I really don't, and Johnny Harper was on here. We've talked about it. He's a home inspector, but a home inspector is good at just seeing things. Then they'll tell you to get a qualified professional. Nose itching. Get a qualified professional to come inspect it. Well, we're the qualified professionals. So if last time you had your roof inspected was when you bought it 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year, it's time for your annual roof inspection then. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylights too, and as well as we're heavily promoting now commercial maintenance, commercial replacements. Everything needs maintenance in commercial roofing, TPO, EPDM, and metal. Your big flat roofs needs maintenance. We're able to do that. And that's why we're talking today with Bill, and I almost said Bill and Bill, like my mother brother Bob, but Kevin and Bill here, Kevin Manix and Bill Byrd of IKO. IKO. I like IKO. IKO sounds like a hiccup, but yeah, but they can find me, But anyway, no, I've been catching their attention on because I've been tagging them a lot, making videos because you see, I've got this studio going now, and they've been. I'm actually supposed to be speaking with. I'm not forget his name, but he does the marketing and all that for.
Oh, Antonio.
Another guy. There's another guy too. Maybe something else in North America. Tall, dark. Anyways. I saw him on one of the videos speaking at one of the latest shows y'all have been at or whatever. But and don't be mad at me. I can't remember your name, but I know who you are. We had barbecue downtown 2 years ago. But anyway, and sitting here with Bill and Kevin. And all right, I'm gonna start back with you, Kevin, for a second. Yeah. What are you seeing in the commercial market as far as what's going on out there right now? Give me a rosy or a nightmare picture. Where are we?
Well, I'd like to say it's real rosy, but it's commercial is it's like everything. It's cyclical. It goes usually commercial roofing lags behind about a year from residential. Mm-hmm. So whatever residential's doing now, this time next year, that's what commercial will be doing.
Interesting.
And right now, I think residential is kind of a little bit slow.
Well, it is on the replacement side because I tell people, I don't care what your politics is. RTM Roofing has no politics. I don't care what you believe in. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I don't like you, I ain't selling to you. But the same point in time is that the hopium's up since Trump got elected. Yep. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody's in good spirits. But one thing I've noticed is their wallets haven't filled back up.
No, they have not.
It's going to take a lot longer.
It's going to take a little while.
You can't turn an aircraft carrier in a second.
When you're talking about a commercial roof, I mean, you're not talking about a couple $100.
No,
it's a lot of money.
I was on 80,000 square feet the other day. It's a metal roof, and they had leaks. Of course, it's usually screws or something or whatever, and they don't need a roof. They really don't. They need maintenance.
Yeah.
They need a lot of maintenance. Yeah. They need they ain't had a tune-up in a while, and what we're doing.
And if you don't do that maintenance, guess what?
Then it is a new roof.
You're going to need a new roof.
Then it is $750,000 instead of like for this company we're working for currently. It's a $9,000 do not exceed, and we won't hit 9. I've never hit my do not exceed. If we are, I'm going to let you know halfway through. Hey, we're already halfway through, and we ain't got through the A's because we'll label them A, B, C. A is immediate. Yeah. B is it's coming very quickly, and C is proactive. Yeah.
Well, and there's nothing better than having a good maintenance plan and getting you it's and like a car.
What's a budget? Yeah. Where it goes is that you. Okay, it's $9,000. Let's just call it $10,000 I need to put back this year to do this maintenance, right? Because we won't get it all the first shot. Yep. There'll be another leak. Because you got 50,000 screws on this thing. I mean, we can hit them all, but it's, okay, now we're at $20,000, or whatever. It's time. Right. But my point is that, okay, let's say we only hit $6,000 of that, right? We time, labor, material, boom, $6K. Saved you $3,000. Yep. Well, then if nothing else happens that year to you, then boom, you got 3 plus 9, 10 more. Now you're at 13, or whatever that budget is. So
set a budget and get it done.
And then here's also your replacement budget in today's dollars. Because I can tell you right now, if you'd bought this roof, if you bought the roof on my house that I put on in February 2020, it would be about $18,000 less now.
Yeah.
And it's the same product.
Yep.
The products didn't get any better. It's the money's up, which means drains your pocket. Yep. What as they say, the best way to tax everybody on the planet is inflation.
Yep.
They don't have to pass a law for that.
That's right.
Yeah, so, it is.
Yep.
But, well, Bill, let me jump to you real quick for a second.
Yes, sir.
So, what are you seeing? Now, tell them what you do or what's your position?
I'm a regional technical representative / inspector.
I was about to say, that sounds like lawyer speak. I need to get my lawyer here to listen to you and ask if I need to ask questions.
In layman's term, I'm an inspector. I'm a trainer. When we actually certify a contractor, we call it IAP, and they become a certified contractor for IKO. Mm-hmm. And we do training, in-house training. We do on-the-job training. We do inspections to be sure that.
So for example, if I'm going to replace a roof, and I'm going to give them a 20-year NDL, no dollar limit warranty. I guess that's what the correct acronym is, right? And which means for those out there that the contractor owns the warranty for the first 2 years, just like their normal labor would be. And if the material's got a defect, that's under them. But if it's something that the contractor does or did that fails, then the first 2 years they're responsible for. And after that, then it goes to IKO or whoever the manufacturer is of whatever product that someone's putting on.
You have to have a license.
Oh, hang on.
You have to have that license. You have to be licensed with IKO in order to
give the 20-year deal. That's right.
And so that licensing process, that's what Bill, he's the whole technical side. We've got to make sure we don't want to do business with somebody that doesn't know how to roof.
No,
right?
no, 100%.
And so
100%.
That's what Bill's doing. He's going to be there. He knows it like the back of his hand. Yeah. So he's going to be there to help. We want him there day one on that first roof, no matter who I don't care if a roofer has 40 years of experience. They don't have that experience with IKO. I want Bill there that first day so we can get comfortable with each other. He makes sure that everything's going well because any NDL warranty requires a final inspection.
That's right.
It doesn't necessarily require him to be there day one or do an interim.
It doesn't, because
the more we can do that, the better off we both are.
We had a meeting maybe a year and a half ago. 2 years ago tops, about a year and a half ago. We all three were in meeting, you and Dwayne, all them sitting down because we were estimating on this large project, right? We ended up not getting it, but things happen. You can't win them all. But we were close. We should have had it, but that's okay. But I remember going because that was going to be one of our first IKO because we're certified in other brands as well. But I'm IKO guy, as I mentioned earlier, and if IKO is doing TPO, then why am I not with IKO TPO? And I remember we were talking, and it was a large job. And a lot of details. And it's easy to miss a couple things if you don't watch it. And I remember all of a sudden talking to Bill going, well, will you come out the first day just to make sure that's exactly we know what to do, but, 4 eyes, 8 eyes, 12 eyes are better than 2. 4 heads are better than 1. And y'all were like, yeah. And I'm like, well, wow. I'm not saying any other reps wouldn't do that, but I've never been offered that before. And I was like, that's great. So getting back to you, Bill, for a second, what are you seeing commercial market, yay, nay, right now? Are you inspecting a lot of roofs, or is it slowing down? We got about 45 seconds.
It's kind of a roller coaster at the moment. It seems like it's regional. It seems like some regions the growth is more than others.
Well, Nashville's hot.
Yeah, it is. And I was with the consulting firms. As a matter of fact, day before yesterday was my 2-year anniversary with IKO. Before that, I was with
let me let you stop you there. Because we're closing out real quick, and I want to cut you off. But come on back. You're listening to Renovation Nation live on Super Talk 99.7. See you. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. The warm weather's coming, and so is the rain, the hail, the wind. Is your roof ready? Is it time for your annual inspection? And not just your roof, your siding, your soffit, your fascia, your gutters, your chimney caps, and if you have skylights too. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com. There it is. And we're back. Back live on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. You know what time it is. It's Renovation Nation time. Yes, it is. Sitting here with IKO representatives, if you will, Mr. Kevin Manix and Mr. Bill Byrd. But I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show. Welcome back. We're going to jump on back in. If it's time for an annual inspection, call, and it is time. We've had multiple storms. You've probably been door knocked 3,000 times. Call RTM Roofing, 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com for all your roofing, siding, soffit, fascia, gutters, chimney caps, skylight needs, as well as commercial maintenance and replacements now. That's going. I'm gonna have to. This sentence is going to be 5 paragraphs long before I finally get done with this. But the RTMroofing.com will most likely, we're so close, but it won't have writing all over it. You'll be able to see videos. You'll be able to see what we do, how we do it. Matter of fact, gentlemen, and also you can watch on YouTube if you missed the show today or listen again 9 to 10 p.m. Get the app on the go, WTN app. But anyhow, one of the things we're getting ready to start doing is when we go places, when it's even a TPO boot, or like I've been taking some of these cameras I use for this it's a radio show, but I'm podcasting as well. I've been taking on jobs and getting film because it's stuff like the metal we talked about earlier. We might have been off the air, but nevertheless, it was big gashes. I was able to do some coatings and some 3-coursing real quick just to get it watertight, right? They don't need a new roof. But then I went to an EPDM roof the other day. And I know we're all TPO, which I'm hitting all the bells but the right one. And but nevertheless, that, been working on. And there's actually a TPO roof we're supposed to be looking at here very soon, because with IKO, they've started a TPO division, a commercial division. And in the last, at least in America, the last 3, 4, 5 years, 3 years. Six in America. And, but nevertheless, we're sitting here talking commercial maintenance and replacements. And I'm going to start off with Bill on this round of going, when you inspect, you do inspections, like if a certified contractor for IKO puts a 20-year NDL, no dollar limit warranty on a client, TPO, 60 mil, forget it, whether it's tapered and all this kind of stuff. Insulation for people out there don't know what I was meaning about that. Then what do you see the most that roofers, where can they improve? What do they miss the most that you usually see? Where's it's in details, in my opinion.
Well, I'm so glad that we're talking NDLs today, Chad, because I'm such a believer in those things. I would say that probably, and Kevin, you may correct me if you think I may be a little bit off on this.
We ain't going to give him the mic yet, so that's all right. Go ahead.
In commercial, I would say probably 90% of all building owners want that NDL because they want the 20-year labor and material warranty on it. Before I started to work for IKO, I've been with this company for 2 years. Before that, I was with a large national consulting firm. And before that, with other major manufacturers, and I saw projects where they did not get the NDL, they got the material-only warranty, and after the contractor's 2 years agreement was up and major problems arose from that, well, the building owner was just kind of stuck. Yeah. He was in a bad spot there, and so I'm a big believer in NDLs for the long-term integrity of that roof. I think you're maybe right. I think that, and I tell people, the field part of laying roof is the easiest part. You lay it, you fasten it.
Get your seam right.
Yeah.
Get your weld right. And
it's the small stuff.
Yeah. It's when you hit a wall or a penetration. That's where you're going to have leaks 9 out of 10 times.
That's where your leaks come in at, is in the small detail finish-up work. And, and I encourage all contractors on things like auto welders when they're welding their seams or when they're doing their probing. It seems like that's the thing that you put the least experienced crew person on. Yeah. Just the opposite. Put your best guy on that. I was actually
put your head guy on that going around doing that, because he's going to know exactly what he's looking at.
That's absolutely right.
And feeling with the probe and all of that.
That's absolutely right. And I've actually been on roofs before where they put the least experienced guy on an auto welder on large roofs, 300, 400, 500 square roofs. He did not get his welder calibrated correctly. Therefore, he ran cold welds all throughout his seams. And I've had to call for them to literally strip in large roofs.
Let me put it this way: we've got a pool, and the liner went out a couple years ago. It's only 15 mils, or maybe 20 mils, and TPO's the minimum 45, then 60, and then there's even a 90, and then you got PVC. But I'm definitely jumping you in a second, and you have the PVC, and which is for restaurants and grease and all that will normally eat up people. For everyone out there to understand what I'm talking about, but I was going to actually, if my wife would let me, TPO my freaking liner for my pool, but it'd just be all white. I guess I could get a custom made, but it'd been 60 mils, and it's a heat weld, and that's exactly what they made this liner. It's just a heat weld.
In the beginning,
so if you didn't weld properly or calibrate properly, then there'd be no water in the pool.
Absolutely, it would all leak out, and
leaks in the building, and that's where it goes.
Initially, these were used for pond liners, and they still do.
TPO started.
It started as pool liners, so absolutely. But
I'm coming. We're going to talk about that. Yeah.
Well, and the difference being, with the pond liner, with the pool liner, you have the pressure of the water holding things down. Well, on a roof, you have the pressure of wind uplift bringing things up.
People don't understand that. Yeah,
they don't understand that. So a lot of roofers, the most important thing to them is get it on quick. Be sure it don't leak, which those are important things.
Yeah.
But
the devil's in details.
Yes, it's in the details.
It's like when we do on shingle roofs, asphalt roofs, we do a double target patch on penetrations. Mm-hmm. We put ice and water guard down we do lead boots on PVC. I don't use neoprene unless it's cast iron. But we'll do ice and water guard down first. Then we'll bring our synthetic over, and then the shingles start coming over. Then we put the boot on. Then we do a half moon ice and water on the back side of that. It's peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I call it. The peanut butter and jelly is the boot, and the sandwich is the ice and water guard. And it has to have a catastrophic failure to fail.
And as a contractor, you can sleep at night when you
100%.
go home, and you don't worry about your installation, and you don't worry about that installation long term either.
No, and most business owners are usually just like, get the leak stopped, and they hate spending. But let me jump to Kevin for a second, and we'll back and forth since we've cut. I'm going to make sure I'm giving you guys equal time. I want y'all fight on the way back home. But y'all rode together and be like, hey, when you grab a mic for so much for? But let me go now to Kevin. Let's talk about the types of TPO you got. I mentioned TPO and PVC. So, and you said pond liners. So, floor's yours.
What TPO started out as was a pond liner. That's what it was. And so, people looked at it and said, "Well, if it'll hold water in, maybe it'll keep water out." So they put it on the roof.
So I was right. I'm not thinking about a pool liner.
And you're absolutely right. But to kind of go back to and touch on what Bill was talking about on the devil's in the details. Absolutely. Yeah. If the thing is, I always tell people, look, we're going to go up there. Bill's going to go up there. He's going to inspect that entire roof. Now, we hope that we have a contractor that has put enough time and effort into it so he knows what we're going to find.
Yeah.
Or for the most part, you're never going to have everything, right? He should have already
pre-walked it and just ready. That's right.
If you get that auto welder calibrated, you're going to check. You want to check that first. Once you get that calibrated, it's a robot.
Yeah.
It's going to make a good weld.
Yeah.
So where we're going to spend our time and effort, first off, like I said, we are going to probe those. Mm-hmm. We're not going to just say,
that's right.
good.
That's right.
But we're going to spend a lot of time wherever there's a human involved, and that human
that's
is
curbs,
hand welding, that's boots, that's curves, that's T-joints, that's inside corners, outside corners, and you touched on it a little bit earlier with you said peanut butter and jelly. Mm-hmm. I always like to call it belt and suspenders.
Okay,
you want to double up, and like Bill said, make sure when you go home,
belt with suspenders. I see where you're going now.
You got a belt and suspenders. You're double protected.
Yes.
So don't just throw something on there and say, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Come back and maybe, you're going to have to do that with if you want a 30-year warranty, you're going to have to double
more
up
detail
on those.
Yes, all of that.
That's a lot more because it's got to last that much longer.
Well, it's funny because the reason I understand about the details is because especially in TPO and EPDM, because years ago when I started in this industry, they started going commercial. So I started doing takeoffs and learned TPO and got with Chris Hensley at Metro and made him explain to me what the heck is ISO. I didn't even know. I mean, it's like when I first got in the industry, I was like, what's architectural? 3-tab? It's a roof. What do you mean there's stuff? And I couldn't get my mind around ISO. But anyways, I went to a Carlisle training, right?
Okay.
Me and Rick James. And we went down there, and because I was an estimator and salesman, but I needed to know when I'm estimating. They do it boot in 20 minutes, 10 minutes. And I go down there, and I'm doing welding these curves, and you realize the detail and how cumbersome it is sometimes. There's an art to it. And the guy came over, and he's like, you're going to be good in the field. I'm like, no. I don't do it. I sell it. But I need to know what I'm doing and what I'm selling.
Right. IKO offers, we have a state-of-the-art training center at our plant in Hagerstown, Maryland.
Our guys are certified, of course, but or at least they do a lot of different roofing.
Right.
But my point is that, yes, I'd love to get them up there and come up anyhow, but even myself going for it, because that's,
and the more you
never hurt to refresh your memory.
Exactly. I go through, we're doing one next week. I'm going to be there. I don't need to be, but I love watching that stuff.
Well, it's just good to get keeping up.
And every time I go, I learned something new.
Something else you like.
I'm
you forgot
43,
it, but there it is.
43 years, I still learn something almost every day.
No, 100%.
Hopefully, you know?
No, 100%.
But yeah, it's the details. You definitely got to pay attention
So
to
the
the
products,
details.
because we got a minute or so left in this segment. The products are 45 and 60 mil.
45, 60, and 80 mil.
And 80.
Yes.
Okay.
80 mil you're going to have to use for 25 or 30-year warranty.
Okay.
20 years you're going to use 60 mil. 15-year you'll use 45. 45 is not that common.
I don't see.
It's almost all 60.
You see it on old roofs. The music's kicking in now, gentlemen. But yeah, you see it on old roofs. You know, you'll see a 45, like, but still 3 times my pool liner.
Yeah. White, gray, and tan.
Yeah, white, gray, and tan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yep. And we're gonna come back. We're Senator Bill Byrd, and that was Kevin Manix of IKO. One's the rep and one's the inspector. You don't want to make either of them mad. When you come back, we're going to explain a little more about what exactly TPO is. You listen to Innovation Nation. See you in 3. Hey, this is Chad Rowland with RTM Roofing. The warm weather's coming, and so is the rain, the hail, the wind. Is your roof ready? Is it time for your annual inspection? And not just your roof, your siding, your soffit, your fascia, your gutters, your chimney caps, and if you have skylights too. Call RTM Roofing at 615-500-0751, 500-0751, or go to rtmroofing.com. And you know we're back live. Every time I rub my nose, I must be making money somewhere. I don't know. Isn't that the thing? It's not my ears. No one's talking about me. But you're listening to Innovation Nation, coming at you from Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Chad Rowland, owner of RTM Roofing, host of this crazy show. Sitting here with Mr. Kevin Manix and Mr. Bill Byrd, IKO representatives. One, it's almost like the IRS and work comp. One can shut you down, and one can shut you down and throw you in jail. So, but we left that last segment talking about IKO and TPO, and it was 45 mil, 60 mil, 80 mil. And what is TPO?
So TPO is basically it's plastic. It's thermoplastic. EPDM is a thermoset. That means EPDM, you cannot heat weld it together. You have to use an adhesive. TPO is a thermoplastic, so you weld that together, and that sheet basically becomes one.
Monolithic almost at that point.
It's a monolithic sheet. In fact, that's why it was used for pool liners before it was
pond
a roofing.
Liners. Pond liners. I got you on pool. We need to start a new market right there. I'm telling you. Hey, IKO. I only want a penny off every sale. That's it. Well, a penny of a penny or whatever. Give me a tenth. But so when we manufacture that sheet at our state-of-the-art plant in Hagerstown, Maryland, in that plant we also manufacture the polyiso-cyanurate insulation. And polyiso is insulation. It's your insulation. It's a rigid foam board. Big square board, just a big 2-inch, 3-inch, inch and a half, whatever.
1 inch to 4 inch flat, and then we also do tapered as well. So we're the only manufacturer in the U.S. that manufactures both of those products under the same roof.
That's good.
And in that building, we also have our state-of-the-art training center, which Bill spends a lot of time in. We
which we're going to visit. I want to come up with that. We talked about. We've touched a little on that, but I'm definitely going to touch on that.
We're doing our last training next week for this segment. That we'll start again in the fall because it's tough during roofing season to get anybody to want to go.
That's right. Yeah. So what?
Yep.
Let's see. What's the question I want to say here? With TPO, how long should it last? We know there's but how long? What's realistic terms in Tennessee's market, not other parts of the country?
Right. Yeah, it's like different extreme.
That's right.
Weather.
We get all four here.
A typical, if you have a typical 60 mil.
That's been maintenance, mind you. Let's go unmaintenanced and maintenance. Let's start with unmaintenanced.
So 60 mil unmaintenanced. We still would like to see that go the full 20 years. But unmaintenanced, especially if there's some any bit of ponding up there, a little bit, it doesn't even take much.
Right.
If you're not maintaining that roof, you're going to be lucky to get 15 out of it.
Yeah, it's without major repairs, which means you might as well replace it if you're going to spend that much money.
Unless it's a perfectly flat roof where there's nothing,
no penetrations.
then you might get there.
It's a shed roof, if you think. Yeah,
but maintenance is. I mean, you're that part of the building.
So now let's jump
to protecting the whole building.
Well, I like telling business owners when they go, "What do you mean it's $300,000 for this roof?" I go, "What happens if that one room shuts down for 3 days? What are you losing a day? Oh, it's $50,000 a day." I'm like, "Oh." So for 1 week, you just bought a roof and you still got to buy a roof.
Exactly. So maintain it. Maintain it. Absolutely.
And if it's been installed properly and maintenance on an annual maintenance basis, and when should?
Yeah. So
first question: how long should you get if it's a maintenance roof minus weather-related events?
So
and then how long do you? Well, I forgot my second question. So let's just go with that one.
So if you're maintaining that roof and keeping after it, that same 60 mil that probably won't make it 20 years. If you're maintaining it, now we're still only going to warranty it for 20 years,
right.
But you
on a 20-year NDL.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Right. You'll easily get 25.
Nice super large hail
You'll
or
get 25
tornado.
years out of that thing. Yep.
Yeah, that's about what I thought.
Yep.
And so let me jump to Bill for a second. And we had talked. I'm not going to act like I just brilliantly thought of this, but we were talking a little off the air. What we just talked about, how good TPO is without going in all the schematics of it. But yes, if you unmaintenance it, if you get 20 out of it, you got lucky. But if you maintenance it, you should get 20 without a weather-related event. But what do you see where TPO fails at times? Because everybody always talks good about everything, but it's made by machines, by man. Things happen. So what are key things where you see TPO fails?
Chad, I'm going to revert back to what we talked about a little bit earlier about the NDLs, and we're talking about the longevity of a TPO roof. TPO is designed just like your skin. It sloughs. They say it loses 1 mil a year of it sheds.
Okay.
With weathering, with aging, and
sun bleaching, the UV light, and all the big balls of fire in the sky.
That varies. I mean, if you're in Phoenix, Arizona, that's going to accelerate more than it is in a cooler climate.
Up north, that's right.
Yes. So reverting back to the NDL and with the maintenance program on these roofs, you're going to extend the longevity of that. I've actually been on 60 mil TPO roofs that are 30 years old that are still performing beautifully. Now, having been in this business for 46 years, and I probably saw some of the first TPO that ever came out on the market, my experience has been probably 99% with TPO, PVCs, thermoplastic membranes.
Okay.
And so I saw the early ugly days of TPOs, and it was ugly back in those days.
It's like the early days of coatings.
Yeah.
It's people don't know what they're doing. They're all
trial and error.
It's just it is.
They had to learn what worked and what does not work.
Well, they started with ponds.
Yeah. Well, and I can honestly say that today's TPO is not your grandfather's TPO.
No, I agree
Having
with that.
seen what I experienced back in those days, and and what I see today, they learn from their errors. And I don't see a whole lot of issues with today's membrane, to be honest with you. Back then, there were insufficient UV stabilizers in the sheet.
The chemistry of it. There's more errors in the chemistry back in the day.
The chemistry.
You need, go ahead.
I can tell you, just from the long time that I've been with it, one of the things that can happen, you talk about, it's made by machines and humans and all that.
Yeah.
The most important thing when you're putting two pieces of TPO together, and TPO is a 3-ply. You have your bottom ply, then you have your scrim reinforcement.
That's right.
And then your top ply. The top ply is where all the good stuff goes. But it's three plies, right?
It's like a 3-course.
Well,
but that's solid.
Almost, but it's solid. And what that takes, what any TPO takes to weld together or to make one is heat and pressure. And I have seen, now I've not seen it with our company, but I've seen it in some others, and you'll see it every now and then. where that machine, they dial it in, and it didn't have quite enough, maybe enough heat or pressure along the edge, and that the scrim is what's called encapsulated into that TPO.
So it's like a little fiberglass or something, basically. Doesn't
and
it?
that's why when you cut it, whenever you cut a piece of TPO, you got to put cut edge sealant on it to keep the water from wicking into the scrim. But when it's manufactured, that scrim is completely encapsulated in that sheet. And so if you don't have enough heat and pressure on that edge, I have seen some others where it just comes apart. Well, that's an easy fix, though. You strip it in.
But that's just like we say, it's even in shingles. The only really manufacturer defects that I've normally seen, other than the certain brands way back in the day, like the old Atlas, the Chalet, they put too much asphalt in it, blistered quicker than it wanted. It's a great idea. They just had too much asphalt in there. But is like where the granules didn't drop correctly, so you get a discoloration, right? So I could easily see. So really, what I'm hearing, really the downgrade to TPO, if that's what you got, or that's what you need, or that's what you want, is the machines that made it. Just as long as they did it right, then it's installed right. There's not really a thing you're going out going, oh, we're seeing it weathering early. Well, if that's the case, then something must have went wrong with the pressure in that.
Correct. And most manufacturers have a quality control segment in their plants to take a look at things as they're coming off the roller, make sure the sheets are as they should be. They do the micrometers where they actually gauge them to be sure that they're milled correctly.
What they are. Well, the music started. You guys got a shout out real quick to anybody?
Just hey, IKO all the way. You'll love it.
Got it. You got a shout out anybody?
No, I'll tell you what. We look for partners like RTM.
Oh yeah, no, I love you guys. You guys got love IKO, and you guys now the commercial style. It's awesome. Thanks for coming, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And catch us next week. You don't know who's going to be here. This might be me. See ya. Thanks for watching Renovation Nation. Hope you enjoyed the show. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and share button.